Went to surprise Catherine at her yoga studio. Thought we could have lunch together. Found street parking a block away. Walked up to the modern glass building where she spent so many transformative hours lately. Through the window of the supposedly empty meditation room, I saw them. My wife and... no, can't write who yet. Makes me physically ill. Their voices carried through the partially open window. "Does Jason suspect anything?" he asked, hands where they shouldn't be. Catherine laughed, a sound I'd never heard from her before. "Please. He thinks I'm here for spiritual growth, inner peace, and the private sessions? My journey to enlightenment. He even pays for them." They kissed, right there on the yoga mat where I'd watched her demonstrate poses just last week. Today she acted completely normal, made breakfast, kissed my cheek, talked about her spiritual journey. "The meditation is really helping me find myself," she said. "Found yourself in his arms, maybe. How's the new instructor?" I managed to ask. "Oh, amazing. So in tune with everyone's needs. I bet he is, in ways I never imagined." Found her secret phone in her yoga bag. The messages destroyed me. "Last night was incredible. Miss you already. Can't wait for tomorrow's private session." She keeps talking about spiritual connection and personal growth. Each word now feels like a knife. "You seem distant," she said over dinner. "Everything okay?" "Just thinking about your transformation lately." "I know. The yoga has changed my life. I'm so grateful you support this journey." Support. Like paying for her affair venue. Her phone buzzed. Yoga studio. Meditation room free after 8. Special session. I watch her text back. "Can't wait. Need your guidance." She glanced up. "Just confirming my evening class." Each lie drives the knife deeper. Each smile more poisoned. Started gathering evidence myself. No need for investigators when your wife is this careless. Credit card charges for private sessions. Text messages about spiritual guidance. Hotel receipts disguised as retreats. Strange charges from boutiques. Hidden yoga outfits I've never seen. The worst part? Found her journal hidden in her mat. He awakened something in me. A passion I never knew existed. Jason's so caught up in his business. He'll never understand this spiritual connection. Spiritual connection. Is that what they call it now? Her latest text. "Working late at the studio. Don't wait up. Working something all right. And I'm funding it." The revenge plan is already forming. She thinks I'm just a clueless businessman. Time to show her how clueless I'm not. "Nothing." I replied to her sharp look. "Just noticing changes in you." "Changes like what?" "Your new wardrobe, for one. Never seen these outfits before. They're for practice. Special yoga gear. Special like the lingerie receipts I found." Her fork clattered against the plate. "You're going through my things? Like you're going through our savings?" "Found those withdrawals, too. I need supplies for the practice dash." "Practice what exactly?" "Deception." She tried changing tactics, tears forming. "Why are you being like this?" "Yoga is important to me." "Like those private evening sessions?" "You're tracking me now?" "Just following the money, Catherine. It's what I do." Her phone buzzed again. Multiple messages flooding in. "Miss you already. Tonight was incredible. Can't wait for tomorrow. Popular class schedule." I noted. She grabbed her phone protectively. It's a tight-knit community. Very tight-knit from what I saw. Her head snapped up. "What?" Through the meditation room window. Quite a view. All color drained from her face. "You were at the studio?" "Thought I'd surprise my wife. Got surprised instead." "Jason, I can explain dash." "Explain what?" "The kiss? The touching? The betrayal? It's not what you think dash." "No? Tell me what I should think about my wife wrapped around another man." She stood abruptly. "You don't understand spiritual connections dash." "Is that what we're calling affairs now?" "It's more than that. He understands me dash. Like he understands his other special students." That stopped her cold. "What other students?" "You're not the first to receive his special guidance." "You're lying dash." "Like you've been lying?" "Check his history at the previous studio." She grabbed her phone, hands shaking. "This isn't true dash." 3 other married women. 3 other spiritual connections. When she came back downstairs later, her face was white. His ex-wife, she said. About his pattern? The other affairs? The ruined marriages? "He used me." Like you used me. She slid to the floor. What have I done? Destroyed everything. For a man who's done this before. Her phone kept buzzing. Her lover desperately damage controlling. Tomorrow, everything changes. The trap is set. Studio confrontation planned. Other victims ready to speak. Divorce papers prepared. Evidence organized. Bank accounts secured. Her last text tonight. We need to talk. About everything. My response. Talk to his other spiritual connections. The truth got so much darker today. Had breakfast with Catherine. Watching her perfect spiritual facade crumble. Maybe we should try couples yoga, she suggested, stirring her green smoothie. Help us reconnect. Like you reconnected in the meditation room? Her spoon froze mid-stir. Jason, about what you saw dash. Which part? The kissing? The touching? The spiritual awakening? It's not just physical dash. No. The hotel receipts suggest otherwise. She set down her smoothie carefully. You don't understand the depth of spiritual connection dash. Explain it to me then. The spiritual growth happening in room 412. You're having me followed? Don't need to. Your credit card tells the story. Her phone buzzed. That familiar smile started but died when she saw my expression. The studio? I asked quietly. Just schedule changes dash. Change like moving your private sessions to the Marriott? She stood abruptly. You're twisting everything. No, you're twisting our marriage. Into something ugly. He understands me on a deeper level dash. Deep like his bank account? Found those transfers by the way. Her face went white. What transfers? The ones from our savings to his private account. Very spiritual. I can explain dash. Explain what? How you're funding his next studio opening. The kids were at school, so I pushed harder. Tell me about the retreat next month. What retreat? The couples one. In Hawaii. Paid for with our anniversary fund. Her hand trembled as she reached for her phone. How do you know dash? Everything? Amazing what bank statements reveal. Those are private, like our marriage was supposed to be. Our trust. Our life. She tried changing tactics, tears flowing. Baby, please, this isn't like you dash. No. Tell me what I'm like then. The clueless husband? The walking ATM? Her phone buzzed continuously. Messages flooding in. We need to talk. Everything's falling apart. What did you tell him? Your guru seems nervous. I noted. She grabbed her keys. I need to get a class dash. Class? Or damage control? This is insane. What's insane is discovering my wife's been financing her lover's expansion plans. Everything's ready for tomorrow's confrontation, but tonight's dinner nearly broke me. The evidence mounted in my briefcase while Catherine tried playing her spiritual wife role. I made your favorite pasta, she said softly. Thought we could talk about our energy alignment. Energy alignment? Is that what you call it now? Please try to understand, dash. Understand what? How you aligned with him on my meditation cushion? Her hand trembled as she served the food. Jason, about what you saw dash. Which part? The kiss? The touching? Or the money transfers? She sank into her chair. You know about those? I know everything, Catherine. Every penny you've given him. Her phone buzzed. His message popped up. Need to see you now. Your guru seems desperate, I noted. He's not my dash. Not your what? No. Spiritual guide? Financial advisor. She tried changing tactics, reaching across the table. Baby, let me explain dash. Explain what? How you emptied our savings for his new studio. It wasn't like that, dash. No. The bank records tell a different story. 6 months of transfers. Her phone kept buzzing. Don't tell him everything. We need to talk first. Remember our plan? He seems worried, I said calmly. About his empire crumbling? What empire? The one you help finance. 5 studios now, isn't it? All funded by special students. You're lying, dash. Like you've been lying? Check his business records. Follow the money trail. She grabbed her phone, hands shaking. This isn't true, dash. Call his ex-partner. Ask about the other women, the other investments. You promised me forever. One woman sobbed. Said our connection was unique. Told me the same thing, another added. Word for word, Catherine whispered. I projected the financial records on the studio wall. Years of manipulation laid bare. Each studio funded by a different woman, I explained. Each one convinced they were special. David tried damage control. These women willingly invested dash. After you seduced them, Lisa cut in. After you convinced them to empty their savings. Catherine stared at the evidence. Bank transfers. Property deeds. Multiple affairs. The Denver studio, one woman said. That was my retirement fund. Portland was my inheritance, another added. In Seattle? I turned to Catherine. That was our children's college fund. She crumpled to her mat. I thought, he said it was an investment in our future. His future, Lisa corrected. Just like all the others. The business records showed everything. 5 studios across 3 states. Millions in investments from students. Multiple affairs with married women. Pattern of seduction and abandonment. Careful selection of wealthy targets. Show them the messages, Lisa suggested. I pulled up the text threads. Same words to different women. Our souls are connected. You understand me like no other. Let's build something together. Sound familiar? I asked Catherine. She nodded, tears streaming. Exactly what he told me. David's calm facade finally cracked. You don't understand spiritual connection dash. No, Lisa interrupted. You don't understand federal fraud charges. The FBI agents entered as David made another escape attempt. Mr. Anderson, they said, we have some questions about your business practices. In marriage fraud, his current partner added, walking in. Catherine tried approaching me. Jason, please dash. Please what? Ignore that you helped him steal from our family. I didn't know dash. Like you didn't know about Lisa? About the others? Our families watched in stunned silence as the FBI led David away. Catherine's final plea. But our connection was real dash. Real like his promises? His special guidance? His spiritual bond? Her phone kept buzzing with messages from other victims. Did you know? How much did you lose? Were you special too? His empire crumbling. His pattern exposed. The FBI agent started interviewing victims one by one. Each story more devastating than the last. He took me to Chicago last month, his current partner revealed. Showed me the perfect studio location. While telling me Seattle would be our forever home, Catherine whispered. I pulled up more evidence. The Chicago property purchase. Down payment from his current partner's account. 2 days after Catherine's last transfer. You were already replacing me? Catherine turned to David. Business requires constant expansion dash. Business. Lisa laughed bitterly. Is that what you call seducing married women? The next slide showed his pattern across cities. Denver. Sarah invested in January. David moved by June. Portland, Maria invested in July. David gone by December. Seattle, Catherine invested in January. Chicago down payment made in March. 3 months, I said quietly. That's his average time between victims. Catherine collapsed completely. I thought I was different. They all did, Lisa said. Show them the engagement rings. The room went silent as I projected the photos. 4 identical rings. He proposed to Sarah with this ring. Then Maria. Then Catherine. And last week, his current partner pulled off a ring, identical to the others. Bought in bulk, I explained. Like his promises. David struggled against the agents. You're making this look wrong dash. Wrong. Sarah stood up. Like promising to marry me while scouting Portland? Or proposing to me while eyeing Seattle? Maria added. Or giving me this ring while closing on Chicago? His current partner threw the ring at him. The evidence kept mounting. Multiple engagement photos with different women. Same romantic proposal spots. Identical promises of spiritual union. Matching timeline of investments and abandonments. But the deepest betrayal, I continued, wasn't the money. Show them the medical records, Lisa. Lisa stepped forward. 3 years ago, I was pregnant with his child. He convinced me to terminate, claiming we'd start our family after the Denver studio opened. Sarah gasped. He told me the same about Portland. Maria covered her mouth. And me about Seattle. Catherine went white. Last month about Chicago. 4 women. 4 terminated pregnancies. Same promises of future family. Just another part of his script, Lisa said quietly. The ultimate spiritual bond, carrying his child, until it interferes with his plans. The FBI agents added more charges to their list. Continue with more revelations? Hashtag Part 5, the complete exposure. Let's talk about the real numbers. I announced to the stunned room. Studio by studio. Woman by woman. Pulled up the first spreadsheet. Denver studio. Sarah Thompson. I gestured to a woman in blue yoga gear. Invested her entire retirement. $425,000. Sarah stood, shaking. He said we'd run it together. Build our dream. Portland studio. I continued. Maria Reynolds. $380,000 inheritance. Maria wiped tears. Said we were soulmates. Had a cosmic purpose. Seattle studio. I turned to Catherine. Our children's entire college fund. $300,000. Catherine couldn't meet my eyes. He promised we'd transform lives? Oh, he transformed lives all right. Lisa stepped forward. Into financial ruin. David struggled against the FBI agents. You're twisting everything. These were legitimate investments, Dash. Legitimate. I clicked to the next slide. Let's see your pattern. Target wealthy, married women. Create spiritual connection through private sessions. Suggest special investment opportunity. Promise unique spiritual partnership. Take the money and move to next city. Start over with new victims. The evidence was devastating. Same scripts, same seduction, same theft. The text messages I announced to Sarah 3 years ago. Our souls are eternally connected. Let's build our dream studio. Sarah nodded, crying. To Maria, 2 years ago. Our souls are eternally connected. Let's build our dream studio. Maria covered her face. To Catherine, 6 months ago. Stop, Catherine whispered. No, everyone needs to hear this. Our souls are eternally connected. Let's build our dream studio. Word for word, Lisa confirmed. He doesn't even change the script. David's current partner stood up. The Chicago studio. My life savings. $290,000. Ah, yes. I smiled coldly. His next target, before Seattle, was even complete. Catherine's head snapped up. Chicago? You were already planning Chicago? David's mask finally shattered. You don't understand business, Dash. No, you don't understand federal charges. An FBI agent interrupted. White fraud. Investment fraud. Interstate commerce violations. The full financial records appeared on screen. Millions stolen through spiritual investments. Each studio funded by love, I explained. Each woman convinced she was special. Each one left financially ruined. Our families watched in horror as the pattern emerged. Years of calculated deception. The real estate holdings, I continued. All in his name alone. The women who funded them? No legal claim. Catherine tried one last defense, but the spiritual connection dash was calculated. Lisa finished. Part of his script, his manipulation. The FBI led David away as he shouted. They wanted to believe, needed to believe. Like you needed to believe, I told Catherine. While emptying our accounts, her phone buzzed constantly with messages from other victims. How much did you lose? Did he use the soulmate line? Were you special too? His empire exposed. His pattern revealed. His victims united in their pain. 3 months later, the courtroom was packed for David's sentencing. The defendant's pattern of spiritual and financial exploitation, the prosecutor addressed the judge, spans 5 years for states and countless victims. Catherine sat beside me, a shell of her former self. The woman who once radiated spiritual enlightenment now looked broken. I almost ended our family for a con man, she whispered. Like all the others, I replied quietly. The evidence had grown since the studio confrontation. More victims came forward. Boston studio, 2018, Janet lost $400,000. Miami studio, 2019, Rebecca lost $350,000. Austin studio, 2020, planned but never opened. David's lawyer tried damage control. My client genuinely believed in spiritual connections dash. Objection. The prosecutor interrupted. The evidence shows premeditation. Same script. Same timeline. Same results. The judge reviewed the pattern. Identical engagement rings purchased in bulk. Same proposal locations in each city. Matching promises of spiritual union. Consistent timeline of seduction and abandonment. Catherine clutched my hand as Lisa testified about the pregnancies. 4 of us terminated. Lisa's voice shook. Each promised a family after the next studio opens. The judge's face darkened. Emotional manipulation of the highest order. David's final statement was pure narcissism. These women wanted spiritual guidance. I provided it. 20 years, the judge announced, and full financial restitution. Outside the courtroom, the victims gathered, united in their healing. He took more than money, Sarah said. He took our trust. Our faith, Maria added. Our futures, Catherine whispered. The recovery group meets weekly now. Women helping women heal. Catherine's in intensive therapy. The kids are slowly forgiving her. Will you ever trust me again? She asked last night. Trust is earned, I replied. Like enlightenment. Some wounds never fully heal. Some betrayals cut too deep. But at least his empire of lies is finally shattered.